Hi everyone, this is my guide for installing an Elastic SIEM. The aim of this video is to provide a guide for those who want to create a SIEM on their home network. If you have ample resources, you might be better off installing something like SecurityOnion, which is a Linux-based operating system that has many SOC tools installed by default, such as an Elastic SIEM. This will be more resource intensive than running the SIEM alone, so if you're just interested in the SIEM, this is the guide for you. This was created because I found Elastic documentation to be too far separated and hard to find what to do next, so I'm aiming for this to be step by step. In this guide, we'll go over the installation of Elasticsearch and Kibana with the HTTPS. We'll go over configuring a fleet in policy to create agents. We'll go over installing those agents onto both Windows and Linux hosts. And finally, we'll go over setting up, creating, and importing alerts. If you are confused about any terminology, don't worry, we will explain it as it comes up. Additionally, all this information has been sourced from Elastic's official documentation, but is aimed to be more streamlined. If you prefer text-based guides, good news, I've created one, a link to which will be in the description. The host I'm running this off of is an Ubuntu 24.04 server with 12 gigabytes of RAM and a statically assigned IP address. With all that being said, let's get started. Alright, first up, installing Elasticsearch. To put this simply, Elasticsearch is a service that logs are sent to and logs will be queried from. It's an open source search engine and it runs off of TCP port 9200. To view these logs, we'll be using Kibana. The following instructions have been pretty much stolen directly off of Elastic's official documentation. A link to that has been provided in the description below. Additionally, you can copy the commands from my guide. First up, in our terminal, on our host that we will be installing the SIEM on, we'll go ahead and import Elastic's PGP key with wget and then the gpg command. Next up, we'll go ahead and install the package apt transport https. It is a short package, so it will install pretty quickly. Next, we'll go ahead and save the repository definition. Elastic suggests that we do it as so by echoing this command and then keying that into this directory here. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and update and then install the package Elasticsearch. All right, now that our Elasticsearch package has finished installing, we are going to want to look at the output here for the security auto configuration information and see that Elastic has provided us a generated password for our built-in Elastic super user. Go ahead and copy this off to somewhere safe. Yours will be different than mine. Just copy it off somewhere safe. Next up, we're going to go ahead and get the IP address of our server. At this time, if you have not assigned a static IP, go ahead and do that now. For us, it's this. And next, we're going to go ahead with the text editor of our choice and go ahead and edit this file, etc Elasticsearch, elasticsearch.yml. We're going to go ahead and go over to network.host. Go ahead, uncomment that, and in here we are going to enter in our IP address. Additionally, we're also going to add transport.host and put in the same IP address. Next, go ahead and save this file. Next up, we're going to enable systemd logging for our Elasticsearch service. To do that, we're going to have to know where our service file is located. We can do that with systemctl status for the Elasticsearch service. We'll go ahead and see, hey, it's located at this path. On your system, it may be different, but either way, let's go ahead and open that up with a text editor of our choice. We're going to jump down to the exec start down here, jump on over to the end of it, and remove this quiet. After we've done that, we can go ahead and save and exit that file. Finally, we're going to go ahead and daemon reload with systemctl. Then we're going to enable the service with systemctl. Then finally, we're going to go ahead and start the service. All right, now that our service is started, we can go ahead and systemctl check the status of Elasticsearch. And we see, oh good, it's running. After we've verified that the service is running, we can go ahead and test the connection with a curl command. So we're going to go ahead and specify a certificate for this since certificates are enabled on Elasticsearch by default. This is going to be located in etc Elasticsearch certs, and then it's going to be called http_ca.crt. We're going to be doing this as our Elastic built-in user. And we're going to specify the password that we used earlier. And then finally, we're going to go ahead and query our server. And make sure to do this on port 9200. To verify that's working, you'll see this tagline, for search. And after we've done that, congratulations, we've installed Elasticsearch. All right, next up, installing Kibana. Kibana is the web interface that we use to interact with our SIEM and query Elasticsearch. Now, because we installed Elasticsearch in the last step and set up stuff like Elastic's PGP key, the installation of Kibana is actually going to be quite simple. We can go ahead and just install that with sudo apt-get install Kibana. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and make a quick configuration to the kibana.yml file. So we can do that with Vim or our text editor of choice. It's going to be located in etc kibana and then kibana.yml. We're going to go down to server.host, uncomment this line, go ahead, remove this localhost, and we're going to replace it with our statically assigned IP address. Go ahead, save that file. Next, we're going to go ahead and issue a daemon reload with systemctl. We're going to go ahead and enable the service of Kibana, and we're going to finally start the service. After waiting a little bit, we're going to go ahead and check the status of Kibana, and we'll see good, it's active and running, and we'll go ahead and see this go to this link to get started. If you don't see this, we'll wait a little longer and then query status again. Go ahead and copy this URL. We're going to go ahead and paste this right on into here. And we'll go ahead and see that it's prompting us for an enrollment token. So we're going to go ahead and generate that really quick. Let's jump back over to our terminal, and we can go ahead and use the following command to generate an enrollment token. It's sudo user share elastic bin elastic create enrollment token, and then add this tag as Kibana. We're going to go ahead and copy this enrollment token. Then we're going to paste it into the browser. Go ahead and click configure elastic. You'll then see this, and shortly after, we'll be prompted with the login screen. All right, now we're prompted to log in. But before we do that, we might notice that our connection is not secure. We don't have a certificate set up for this. So let's go ahead and set that up first. Let's jump back over into the terminal. Let's go ahead and generate a certificate. Luckily, Elastic provides a binary to go ahead and do this. It's located in user share elastic bin Elasticsearch util. We're going to go ahead and give it the name Kibana server, and we're going to go ahead and output it to the Kibana main directory. We're going to go ahead and extract the contents with unzip. I don't have it installed, so you can install it with sudo apt install unzip. After that, you can go ahead and unzip that file, unzip it into the Kibana main directory in etc Kibana. Now with those files we've created, let's go ahead and move those into the Kibana main directory. And do that for the key as well. Now you may notice that Elastic did not provide us with a CRT file. This is because they tell us to hand the CSR over to our certificate authority and they'll provide us with the CRT file. Since we're doing this on our home network, we don't have a certificate authority set up, so we'll have to generate our own. We can do this with OpenSSL. I'll go ahead and paste in this command. This uses OpenSSL and grabs the CSR and creates a PEM file. Then with that PEM file, we're going to go ahead and use the key to generate a CRT file. We'll go ahead and see the signature was okay, and we're good to go. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead and modify the permissions for these files, because at this moment, it's readable by every user on the machine. We want to go ahead and fix that. Let's first verify or ensure that all these files are owned by root and the group Kibana. So we can do that with sudo chown root :Kibana, and then specify that for all our files. So we're going to go ahead and just use Kibana server.zip. We'll do the PEM, the key, the CSR, and the CRT. Then we'll do the same with chmod. We're going to go ahead and specify 640 for giving root read-write permissions, the Kibana group read permissions, and everyone else no permissions. We'll do that for all the files again. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add an edit to the kibana.yml file. We're going to jump on down to server.ssl. We should be good with that. Go ahead and uncomment these 3 lines here. We're going to go ahead and change this enable to a true. We're going to change the path of the certificate to where our CRT file is located. That is in etc Kibana server.crt. We'll do the same for our key. Once we've added those configurations, we can go ahead and save and exit this file. Before we go ahead and restart, we're also want to do some prerequisite steps for setting up our fleet. A fleet is what we can use to set up policies, which in turn we can generate agents from. We're going to go ahead and generate some Kibana encryption keys. We can do that with this command here. It's located in the Kibana bin directory. We're going to go ahead and grab these bottom 3 files right here. And we're going to jump back over into the Kibana.yml file, jump to the bottom, and just go ahead and paste these in right here, and then save and exit. And then once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and issue a restart for the Kibana service. Once we're back in our browser, let's go ahead and change this to HTTPS. We'll see that we'll get a warning about this. We can safely ignore this. This is because there's an issue with the provider because we've created our own certificate. This is fine. Go ahead and proceed. Once we're at our login page, we can go ahead and log in with our built-in Elastic user and the password that we created when we set up Elasticsearch. You may be prompted with this when first signing in. Go ahead and just click Explore on my own. We're going to go ahead and navigate over to the 3 bars in the top left over here and scroll down to Management Fleet. We don't have a fleet server set up at the moment, so we are going to go ahead and click Add Fleet Server. And then we'll be specified to provide some information. I'm going to go ahead and call my fleet server simply Fleet because I don't plan on having a second one. For the URL, we're just going to go ahead and provide our own host for this. And we're going to go ahead and specify port 8220. This is because Elastic wants to run this on port 8220 by default. Once you have this information, go ahead and click Generate Fleet Server Policy. Once that's done, we'll see that we're prompted to continue over to step 2 here. Go ahead and select your operating system and architecture. For me, it's Linux x86. Go ahead and copy the command they provided, and then we'll hop back over to our terminal, and we'll go ahead and just paste these commands in. Partway through, we'll be prompted that this will install an Elastic agent on this host. We'll go ahead and click yes, we want to continue. And then once we're done, we'll see the Elastic agent has been successfully installed. Jump back over to the browser. We can scroll down here and see Fleet Server connected. Let's go ahead and click Continue Enrolling Agent. We're actually going to go ahead and close out of this. And what we're looking for is that this is either going to be checked in as updating or healthy. After a refresh, I see that the status of the host is healthy and that it is receiving active information. So congratulations, we've now successfully installed Kibana and set up our fleet server. All right, now, so in connecting an agent, just to go over some quick background information, you might have heard an Elastic SIEM referred to as an ELK stack, which stands for Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. Logstash is something that you could send logs to, which would then normalize them for easier querying. This was done with beats, which were lightweight data shippers for only one type of specific information, such as file updates, metric data, or Windows logs. Elastic later developed agents, which essentially allow you to combine beats together, normalize data, and receive updates from the SIEM all through one service. Elastic does intend for agents to replace beats, but beats are still supported for the time being. However, agents are much easier to work with. As such, beats and Logstash will be omitted from this guide as they're not really needed. To go over some terminology really quick, we're going to be creating a security policy. A policy is something that you can combine multiple integrations into to then spawn an agent, which you can then put on any one host to collect logs. An integration you can think of as a set of rules an agent will follow, and an agent is the service that you install on a host you want to collect logs from. With all that being said, we'll go forward with creating a security policy. So from the main page, go ahead and click on these 3 bars in the top left and navigate down to Fleet and Management. Go ahead, click on Agent Policies here, and then go ahead and click Create Agent Policy. Here, I'll go ahead and just simply name it Security Policy. and then click Create Agent Policy. On the policy page, go ahead and click on Add Integration. Go ahead and search for Elastic Defend, and then give it a meaningful name. Next, scroll down to the configuration settings. We're going to leave this at traditional endpoints and complete EDR. Then click Add Integration. We'll now be back at our security policy page. Go ahead and click on your newly created Elastic Defend integration. Scroll down until you see the protection level and switch this over to Detect. You can switch it to Prevent after we've fully set up the SIEM, but for right now, we're going to leave it on Detect. Next, if you want support for Windows hosts, go ahead and click Add Integration. Search for Windows. Give it a meaningful name and description. And then down here, you'll see what events we want to collect from. The more you select, the more logs you will send to your SIEM, and thus the more intensive it will be. The default recommendations are typically fine. I would recommend going down here to System Operational and do click on Preserve Original Event. After all that is done, go ahead and click Add Integration. Once that's done, you can go ahead and verify that the policy is still there, and it is, and now we have successfully set up our security policy to create agents. All right, now to connect a Linux host. So from the main page, we can go on over and scroll down to Management and click on Fleet again. Go over to Agent Policies, collect our created security policy, and then from here we can click on Actions, Add Agent. We can go ahead and leave the enrollment token as default, and yes, we want to enroll it in this fleet. Now you'll see Install Elastic Agent on our host, and it will provide us a command. We want to go ahead and select our operating system and architecture. For me is Linux x86. Go ahead and select everything but the last line. All right, now let's go on into a terminal on the host we want to connect. This is not our SIEM host. This is a completely different Linux host. Go ahead and paste in those 3 lines that it has given us. Once that is completed, go ahead and switch back over to our browser, and we'll go ahead and grab this last command right here. Jump back over to the terminal, and we're going to go ahead and paste this in, but before we select Enter, we're going to go ahead and add this tac insecure. This is needed as we have provided our own certificates. Go ahead and select Yes. Once we see the Elastic agent has been successfully installed, we can jump back over to our browser, see that this agent enrollment has been confirmed, and we're awaiting some incoming data to confirm that the logs have arrived. And there it is. And congratulations, we've now installed an agent on a Linux host. All right, now we are on Windows. So the process of installing an agent on Windows is very similar to Linux. We'll start out on the Elastic homepage, click the 3 bars in the top left, scroll down to Management, and then click on Fleet. Click on Agent Policies, and then click on the policy you want to add an agent from. Once you're on the policy page, click on the Actions thing in the top right here, and click Add Agent. Leave the enrollment token default. Yes, you want to enroll in a fleet. In step 3 here, go ahead and select your OS and architecture. For me, it's Windows x86. Go ahead and copy everything except the last line. Now open up a PowerShell terminal as administrator. So then go ahead and change to a directory in which you can write files to. For me, I'm using Windows temp. And then go ahead and paste in those commands. You might have to press Enter for the last step. Now go ahead, jump back over to the browser. And now we're going to go ahead and grab this last line right here. Jump back over to the terminal, and we're going to paste this in. But before we press Enter, we're going to go, once again, add this tac insecure. This is because we are using our own certificates. You'll be prompted if we want to install the Elastic Agent as a service. Select Yes. We'll see the Elastic Agent has been successfully installed. Hop back over to our browser, and we see the agent enrollment has been confirmed and incoming data has been confirmed. Congratulations, we've installed an agent on our Windows host. Alright, now for the final step, configuring alerts. Alerts are notifications about a certain aspect of a log or pattern of logs appearing, which we call rules. Your alerting rules will change over time and will need to be updated as your scene matures. Most of the time, people will try to attach a MITRE tactic to their logs, however, not all MITRE tactics will be useful. For example, I have the MITRE framework up right now, and we can see that we can find something like password policy discovery. This is not going to be something that will be useful to you on a home network unless you have a password policy on your home network for some reason. Because of this, try to only focus on things that would be actually useful for you. However, first to start off, we will be creating our own alert. To do this, we can jump over to the Elastic homepage, go ahead, click on the bars in the top left, scroll down to security, and then click on alerts. We will have no alerts, and we can go ahead and click on Manage Rules, of which we similarly have no rules. Before we go any further, just to explain, we're going to be creating a very simple failed authentication on Linux alert. So to do that, on the rules page, we can go ahead and click Create New Rule. We can leave the custom query as selected. Scroll down to here. If we want to be more specific and make this log more efficient, we can select what index it would appear in. We don't need to do that for right now. And now we can enter in our custom query. For this, we can do event.category is equal to authentication. And the event.outcome is a failure. Now we can scroll down further and hit continue. Next, we need to give a name, description, and tags for our alert. I'm going to name mine very simply and meaningfully. I'm just going to call it a Linux authentication failure. For the description, this is what is going to be shown with our alert, so we want this to be meaningful. I'm going to go ahead and paste in this text here. A Linux host experienced a failed authentication. Investigation into the user trying to authenticate and the user who authenticated was attempted on is recommended. That is a good step to start investigating a failed authentication. And finally, for tags, I'm going to attach this to the MITRE alert category of credential access. After all that, we can go ahead and click continue. Now we are prompted to schedule our rule. The more often you run the rule, the more intensive it's going to be on your SIEM, but the more up-to-date information you'll get. Just for the sake of getting this to alert fast, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this rule runs every 1 minute. After I've selected that, go ahead and click continue. And for actions, we can just leave this blank for right now. Then finally, click create and enable rule. After we've done that, let's go ahead and navigate over to the alerts bar on the side. And we'll see that we still have no alerts. So let's go on over to our host and deliberately trigger this alert. Now that we're on a host with an agent installed, we're going to go ahead and fail an authentication. We can do that very simply with su root for switch user to root and give them a fake password. Now we can hop back over to our browser and we'll await for this alert to come in. Make sure to hit refresh every now and then. However, this rule runs every minute, so it will take at least that amount of time for this alert to appear in our feed. I'll see you back when that happens. All right, we're back, and we can go ahead and see our Linux authentication failure has triggered. We can go ahead and expand this. We can see our description is appearing here. We see all this information. We can go ahead and leave a quick note telling future analysts that this was just a test. This was a test of this alert. Go ahead, add that note, and then we can go ahead and close this off as a true positive, since this did trigger the way we wanted it to. Now we'll go over importing alerts, because we will not have the time to make all the rules ourselves. We want to take advantage of both community curated and Elastic provided alerts. First up, we're going to go over the Elastic provided alerts, or rules more so. From the alert page, we can go ahead and click Manage Rules again, and then we can go ahead and click Add Elastic Rules. Elastic has a wide variety of rules for us to enable. However, let's just add the rules that apply to our network. So to do that, let's go over to Tags, and let's search for OS Windows. Now we have all the rules that apply to Windows machines. We can scroll down here and see that we're only displaying 20 and that there are 29 pages. To make this more simple, let's go ahead and display 100 rows. All right, good. Now we see that it's displaying 100. Let's go back up to the top here. Click this box right here to select all of these on the page. Click these 3 bars right here and click Install and Enable. We will be doing this for all 6 pages. This should not take too long. Now that there are no more Windows rules available, we'll go ahead and switch over to installing the Linux alerts. We'll go over to the tags, search for the OS, we'll deselect Windows, and select Linux. Once again, we'll have a wide variety of rules here, over for about 400, so we'll go ahead and install all these pages with displaying 100 on each page. Now that we've enabled all these installed Elastic rules, let's jump over to the Rules tab here, select Detection Rules, and we can now see that we see all these rules being displayed here, and we can even filter for them. We've enabled 931 Elastic rules. However, sometimes you might find that the Elastic rules are not quite enough for you, and thankfully Elastic makes it very easy to install community-based alerts. There's many community alerts that you might be aiming for. One of the most notable is the Sigma rule set. They have a GitHub provided here, but to install these rules, you need to create an ND.json file. I found the best guide for this is one created by Security Bits. A link to this will be in the description, but they provide a very nice guide for how to create an ND.json file, which is something that you can import into Elastic. I won't go over their full tutorial as it's not my content, but I will show you how to import the ND.json file. From the rules page, you can go ahead and simply click Import Rules, go ahead and select a file. You see I've selected Windows rules and simply just click Import. After that import has completed, we can go ahead and see on our rules page that we have a plethora of more custom rules. We can go ahead and click on that to filter only for those, and we can see all our rules have been imported in here. And congratulations, we've gone ahead and imported rules, and now we will be receiving alerts as they come in. Alright, congratulations, you now have a fully functioning SIEM. If you wish to view the logs, we can go over, click these 3 bars, go to Analytics Discover, and we can see all these logs are coming in. If we search for an operating system, we can go ahead and see that we have both our Debian and Windows logs appearing in here. And we also know that we can conduct some further investigation by querying KQL. We know that if any alerts trigger, they will be in security alerts. And as you can see here, I have quite a bit triggering. I know that this is a false positive because there's nothing else on these hosts, which brings us into our next point. There is a lot more to learn about Elastic. This is just a very brief guide in order to get you started. As you can see here, I have an alert that I would now need to tune down or disable. However, there's other stuff to learn, like creating dashboards, learning how to query in KQL or ESQL if you prefer that, and so much more. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go over much further in this guide, so I implore you to go out and get creative and discover. I want to thank you for checking out my video. If you have any feedback, good or bad, please let me know. It's the only way I'm able to improve. And I wish you good luck with your SIEM, and I hope you have a nice day.